Hi, everyone. This is Colette Marie Stefan, and you are listening to The Truth is Funny on Transformation Talk Network. We're also live on Facebook, and I'm taking callers today, 1-800-930-2819. And we're going to be on YouTube later, as usual. So this is the last show of 2020, and this is Nuggets of Wisdom from the Vector. And so I'm going to share the last dragon in the new year next show for Tales. Excuse me, that's when the Tales from the Vector show is, because we don't quite have that part of the site done yet. But I'm happy to say that I fell in love with my homepage. So, and now we're almost done, like the meat of it. But what I want to tell everybody is I've been getting emails from you, like, when are you, what programs are you having? When are you, please, you have to understand that, my team and I have been working every single day all year. We're tired. And we're still working, but we're dealing with a lot of people that are displaced, etc., upset. And so I just want to just say to everybody, just calm down. I know this energy right now is very trying. Everybody wants to get the hell out of 2020. But we could end up being like looking at this as the good old days. So that's one of the things that I have learned the most from the current situation that we're in, is that, oh my God, if ever there was a time where we needed to be kind with each other, now is that time. Because I am talking to so many different people from around the world that are just feeling displaced. Just displaced. And it's Christmas, and people, I don't know, I'm being told that in Saskatchewan, you can be fined up to $7,500 for having your mother over for Christmas. Okay. So, and then I thought it was kind of funny when I also told people that, I have a lot of clients at Christmas generally anyway, because around the holiday season, in between Christmas and New Year's, the expectations of the general population climb very, very high. And a lot of people get really, really sentimental and have memories that they're holding on to that, are beautiful, sentimental memories. And this time of year is very special for so many people. And so to not be able to meet as family at this time has really devastated a lot of people. And so I've done my best throughout the year to remain as calm as I can on this show, despite many things going on in my own life also. As for one, I wasn't allowed to go earn a living this year. And at first I was quite patient with it, but then when I see all children going out from door to door to Halloween, but I can't go to work, it was challenging for me. And so this show is called The Truth is Funny. And it is. Like, we're in some very strange times, and many metaphysical people and astrological people who are that I talk to that are really into this type of work, have been predicting that we went into the age of Aquarius, if you're into astrology, in 2012. And a lot of people, if you look back at 2012, you will find that perhaps that was quite a rocky year too. That was around the time, I know in my own life, because I'm scrapbooking, and I have something to say about that. But 2012, many people that I talked to towards the end of 2012 made major transformational moves in their careers and their business. They move from one place to another country from another. And that was kind of like the birth of the birth of the age of Aquarius. And a lot of people, a few people have asked me, I don't understand, like if we were in Pisces and now we're going into Aquarius, it feels like we're going backwards. So that's just from an astrological point of, or from a point of view in the chart. And I'm not going to get into all the astrological aspects of it. But having said that, the age of Aquarius is like Aquarian energy is about air. It's about thought. It's about expanded thinking, intellect, refinement of ideas, authority. It's Aquarius. It's a lot of times people in the past have, in particular around the 60s, they talked about the age of Aquarius, kind of like hippies dancing and all of that. So, but it's actually a very moving into the air signs out of the water signs. And so the Piscean energy is a very watery, fishy, you know, it's deep, it's spiritual, it's emotional. And then we're moving from that into this like intellectual age. And it's kind of like for a lot of people being like a fish out of water. So basically that's what's happening. But if you remember, the symbol for Pisces is the two fishes' tails tied tight like this, and then they're trying to swim in different directions. So we're basically birthing in an age that many people have been waiting a long time for, talking about for a long time. But I had someone ask me this also. If it's 26,000 years to move from here to here, because I've been asking this too. I thought we were supposed to be all like loving and, you know, holding and in this age of Aquarius. And it seems to be like the opposite, or it's like it's very volatile. And change is always volatile. And if you think about a 26,000 period and what we started, it's 2020, so 8 years ago. So I have a feeling that in 2021, patience might also be a virtue. And so I'm going to read the portion of my book. I'm just checking. I just want to check with you, Olivia. I forgot to put my chat on here. And I'm just making sure that I am not running too far over time here. Oh, perfect. Okay, so I forgot that I had, first of all, my scrapbooking. I'm going to tell you, this is so funny. Well, it's not actually. I'm tired of scrapbooking. But I realized that in the last 15 years of my life, I have never really had the time like I have in this past year to really get organized like I want to. I mean, I got all my books organized. I've Marie Kondoed my house 3 times. But I, at the same time, went to get my business and this information organized, because to be able to put this on an online program and make it work and have it like really functional and to take it to the new heights that I want to take it to. I may have mentioned on the last shows a few times that I really want now that I'll have a way of sharing the information and people taking my courses online, I want to then, when people have taken these courses, I want to build things with people. And so I've been working in the background to, you know, with a few people, and I'll have more about that in the new year. But when I got to 2012 in my scrapbooking, that I came across 2016. And this is when I went to Peru. And I went to the jungle and I did ceremonies, quite a few ceremonies, and then went up to Machu Picchu. But the elevation is so high, you have to acclimatize in between. So I went to this yoga studio resort where they make vegan food. And the owner of this is a German, she's a German couple that she moved there. And the art, I just want to show, of Armando Romero. He's a famous artist in Peru there. And he and I'm an early riser, and so is he. So we would sit and have coffee in the morning, and he had a book on his coffee table that was the story of a shaman and his journey. Like, it was about 60 years old, and it had all these beautiful paintings of his visions. And then he had little drawings in there, and he had, like, story, like, because there wasn't, when people used a lot of photography. And he told me, you need to do that and put your travels down, and then put your paintings of your visions in a book like that. And so I was wondering why I was taking so long to do this, but I realized that I actually have my scrapbook half finished. And Olivia has been, my producer here, has been transcripting and for my blog for me, and picking out the parts that are the juiciest. And with that information, and now with my scrapbook, I realized that that book that Armando and I worked on like 4 years ago is half done. Yay! We're gonna go to a break now. I was just like, wow, that was such good news. We'll be right back. 1-800-930-2819 if you would like to make some shift happen. Hi, everyone. This is Colette Marie Stefan. You're listening to The Truth is Funny. We are on Transformation Talk Network, and we're also live on Facebook, and we are going to be on YouTube later. And so it's been a really different year for all of us. And this is the last show. And I decided that I would bring my dragons out on Tales from the Vector in the next show, because the energy just feels kind of like not quite ready. But I'm going to read for you from my book, Nuggets from the Vector. And what happened is it flipped to the last page, and I thought, oh yeah, in my book, the beginning is foreplay and the end is climax. So the dichotomy is this: the climax is an anticlimax. As you clear energetic blocks and put these blocks into practice, you will remember what you have always known. All the answers and healing are within you. The joke is that the more seriously you take yourself, sorry, the light isn't quite that good with the way I'm set up here. The more seriously you take yourself on this perfectly imperfect journey called your life, the more challenging life is. So it is highly, highly unlikely that in any given moment you would be able to be 100% at infinite potential for the entire journey. This does not mean that you do not, that like when you go weak, it does not mean that you are weak. It means that you are strong. When it is highly unlikely that in any given moment you will find an energetic, you'll always be able to find an energetic weakness. And it's unlikely that you will always be 100% strong. I'm just sort of summarizing here. Because I'm finding that as I've gone through this journey, I'm starting to realize that I want to rewrite the beginning and the end of my book, because I'm starting to understand on a higher level, because a lot of this information was information I gathered over a 10-year period. I put it together as logically as I could. And now it's coming back to me as I go back in time and I go through it. And most of what I wrote is very much like throughout the meat of the book, I wouldn't change a word. but just on the front end and the back end. So I find it's really interesting when I read this morning, and I'm kind of correcting it as I go here. So the more you clear energy, the faster the ride, just so you know. There's no pill. I think most of us have figured that out this year now. And you are going to, I've got to get my monocle because the light here is, I should have turned the light on here. Sorry. I'm resetting up my studio, and there we go. So it is highly unlikely that in any given moment, you will not find an energetic weakness. This does not mean that you are weak. It means you are strong. So the more you clear energy, the faster the ride. It's kind of like a roller coaster. So when you chug up the top, the thrill of the drop is not far from your mind. And once you reach the bottom, there is another loop to contend with. Sometimes you want to yell to the controller, "Let me off!" That's this year. And at other times you get off the ride and you just can't wait to get back on it again. And so the universe has a great sense of humor. And the final words that I wrote in this book were written on Mother's Day. And Mother's Day is a very, very special day for me because my oldest daughter was born on Mother's Day on May 13th. And going back in time again, this is something that I also realized, is that I purchased the house that I'm in, and they accepted my offer on Mother's Day, May 13th, 2013. And I was in Vancouver teaching my last seminar for modality, and I was about to embark on this journey of rebranding. And here I am. I rebranded to The Truth is Funny and began this radio show. And it was I was like, what? It was 8 years ago. And I'm going back in time, and I realized that like Kim, who's been doing a lot of work in the back, with graphics, her and I have known each other longer than I've known most of my boyfriends. So we were laughing about that. It's a really interesting journey when you go back and you take a look. And I got because a lot of people say, well, if energy work is so great and it works, why do bad things still happen? And Olivia was just asking me, if it's the age of Aquarius, then what does it mean for people? Because I'm finding a lot of the people that I talk to are really, who have done a lot of work on themselves, are finding this time to be extremely calm and peaceful. And a lot of people on the 21st, they experienced a major shift in energy with that Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. And that's something that Caleb was talking about when he was on the show last. And I just wanted to extend a really big thank you to Caleb for coming on the show and doing that. Because I've had, as I said, I have people that their mom and their dad and family members are in hospital, or they're in homes, or they're wherever, and they are not able to connect with them. And at Christmas, it's way harder. It's just harder. And so I just want to energetically just tune in, because as I was reading this, there's so much energy that poured through. It's kind of like, a lot of people are saying they don't understand what's happened. They don't understand, where, how are we supposed to move forward from this point with optimism going into the new year. And all I can share with you right now is how I do it and how I've done it. And I find for myself, the very best way is to get neutral as you can possibly get, so that you're not reacting to the energy. What you're doing is you're responding to it. And so when you realize, like when I wrote this book, when, you know, it was so much work, it was so much work. And a work of love, a labor of love, of course. But the last words were written also on May 13th. And so it's, or on Mother's Day. It wasn't May 13th, that Mother's Day. And so I've noticed that there's certain rhythms in life, and that we have a tendency that certain dates stand out more strongly in certain people's lives than others. And I've also noticed that a lot of people, when they get in touch with like Christmas past and all the good times that they've had, that for them, sometimes that is having like kind of a reverse perception on them. And instead of being able to take that feeling and be able to move into that feeling and enjoy this time as much as possible, what's happening is a lot of people are having what I call reverse perception, which it happens quite often when there's a death in the family or a death in the way of being or living. And I feel that basically that's where we're headed towards. Olivia, are we ready to go to break now? Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure we don't have any callers. I just would like 2 more minutes here to just shift this for everybody, because yeah, because I can feel Olivia. I'm using her as my barometer. Because I was explaining that from my understanding of the symbol of the age of Aquarius, it looks like the person's carrying this vessel and they're pouring water out, but it's not water, it's knowledge. And I feel like it's the fluidity of our reality right now. And so, as I said, I've been connecting with quite a few people, are contacting me, and they're asking, like, you know, what do I feel is the best way to proceed into the new year, in this line of work, etc. And so we'll talk a little bit about that when we come back. As I said, if anyone wants to call in just to say hi, I know I know some of you have managed to be able to be with family, and I hope that you're visiting with someone right now. And if not, do feel free, if you just want to call in and say hi to us. 1-800-930-2819. We'll be right back right after this. Hi, this is Colette Marie Stefan. You're listening to The Truth is Funny on Transformation Talk Network, and we're live on Facebook, and we're also going to be on YouTube later, and we do have a caller. So we'll take the caller, Olivia.
We've got Raul from Seattle. Raul, you are on with Colette Marie Stefan.
Hey, you.
Hello, Colette.
You're surviving the situation.
The situation, yeah. I am surviving it.
Good. How are you doing?
You know, there's a few things that you describe, you know, the beginning and the end of the book and the stuff I was paying attention. I'm doing okay. You know, it's been a while since we spoke.
Mm-hmm.
But today again, you know, I've been, you know, back here in the city, living with mom and sister. You know, I think it's been like 8 months or so, 7. It doesn't really matter. I feel like
well,
I'm mad at.
It, you know, in the old days, back in, you know, February of 2020, it would have mattered. Wouldn't it? Like, that's what I'm saying to you. It's like, basically people have been forced just to stop. Having said that, sometimes, like, it's a good idea to stop and just breathe and take note of where you are. I'm finding that a lot of people right now are having a lot of ancestors come through. Have you been noticing that? I know you, because you're with your mom, but like, do you have anyone that's passed?
Yeah, I mean, last year I had two relatives passed away while I was my venture in Chile.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this time lately has allowed me to see. I mean, like I said, like I was gonna say is like I'm gonna come full circle in a 5 second explanation. Today I feel angry. I'm
Mm-hmm.
angry at I'm angry that I've had a lot of anger suppressed for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of resentment suppressed for a long time, and that's not only mine. And I see my mom
Okay,
today, and
so
I'm
let's,
blessed to be around my mom. Mm-hmm.
okay, so just take a deep breath here. Because I want to use you kind of, because a lot of people are expressing exactly this. So thank you for being able to say it, you know. What number are you at? 10 being like hair on fire, press the panic button, and 0 being I'm neutral, you know.
7 and 8.
Okay, so when you get in touch with the anger, what I tell people is be very careful right now, because anger is an emotion that for some people, many people use it for motivation. And so anger, some people are very used to driving themselves very hard with anger when they're desperate or when they're afraid or when they don't know what to do. They like, if they get angry, then they can find the strength to do something. And that's because there is actually a physiological and, you know, psychological and many other chemical reactions happening when you're in this state. Having said that, it would be a good idea for people to ask, just to stop when you start to feel. And everybody has like some indication that they're going into that place of anger, like, or like the trigger. And what I've been, as I said, I've been working a lot with some people that I feel I'm honored that they're calling me at this time, and that because they're very, very, very good at what they do. They just want another perspective. And my perspective is kind of different from a lot of other people's perspective because of the fact that most of what is going on now that is shocking to people, that is surprising to people, I wrote about 15 years ago, or five, I started collecting the data 15 years ago. I wrote a book about my dad's experience. I've told people about my mom's experience. And so I had a passion to share this information because when I was going through like a lot of what we're going through now, I was going through, you know, when my dad collapsed, he had Guillain-Barré syndrome. You know, if you ever saw someone in a 36-hour period go into complete system shutdown and he's the rock of your family, it was disturbing to say the least. And so, you know, and so when going through those times and then also, you know, going back and forth across the country for 5 years teaching seminars. And for the last 2 months of my mother's life, not being allowed to see her because we were protecting her from the flu. And that was back in 2010. And so I've already not gotten to be with my mom. I did get to be with her. I did when she was passing, before her spirit left her body. I just made it in time, but I did not get to talk to my mom or to be able to speak to her because she was in a coma. And so I understand a lot of the emotions that a lot of people are going through. And that's what I like. That's why I worked. I've taken 3 days off since this happened, because I understand how disturbing it is. Having said that, I feel now that enough people have experienced maybe things that they had never experienced before, at this time, and I'm talking all sorts of us in all sorts of different ways, because so many of us have had our lives just go like this. And this is not a good or a bad thing. What it is what happens is when the energy becomes stagnant, and we raise certain individuals as like higher, and look up to leaders like as, oh, they know way more and all that, and put them on a pedestal. Anytime you put anyone on a pedestal, they only have one place to go, down. Unless they can teletransport, right? I'm working on it. Beam me up, Scotty. So I just want to check in now what your number is, Ro. Has it dropped?
Well, I was now maybe a little, because I was still kind of stuck trying to sort of tell you part of the reason why I'm mad. I think there's the upset part, or the anger, part of it from the past ancestry, like you were talking about, the stuff that I decided to carry for the family, the stuff that I haven't been able to do still with my life, and the thing that I came full circle back home. I mean, I had the last 2 years been the most exciting years of my life, but today I find out that I'm in the same place with the same physical issues, with the same emotional attachments, with the same difficulties that I had in the past, the same anger, the same programming. I feel like I haven't gone forward. That's why I feel full circle, and that even makes me more mad. You know what I mean? Because you know the story.
Dude, I absolutely do. Like, so now, okay, take a deep breath.
So many things. Yeah.
Take a deep breath, because I just want to share something with you. I want to get a number from you right now. Like when you think about how angry you are, 10 is, that angry, and 0 is I'm neutral. Where are you?
Just the fact that I was able to explain to you clearly, it made me bring it lower to 7.
There we go. So this is awesome, because I'm using you as sort of a barometer here to bring the energy down to a level where people start to understand that anger is just a gift that keeps on giving. There is such a thing as righteous anger. Righteous anger is when something is happening, and someone that cannot protect themselves is having something horrible happen, and you speak up for them because they are not able to speak up for themselves. That's righteous anger. Righteous anger is also when you absolutely know that that something that has happened is not clean, is the only way I would say it. So neutral, and what you use the word same, I think, well, 4 or 5 times. Did you notice that?
No.
Yeah. Olivia, can we just skip the next break? And I'm just going to keep energetically shifting here with Raul, because I feel like we're really doing good work for people here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So you used the word same. I counted 4 or 5 times. And the word same, you said, if I believe that my life is the same. I have the same body issues. I have the same problems. I have the same financial issues. And that's absolutely, can you feel it? It is such weak energy, what you just said. It is so inaccurate. Like if you walk around in your life and you tell yourself that, you will have a very challenging time to rise above it, because it is absolutely impossible for it to be the same. You see, in a big part of this is why I'm not good at math, and I have a tendency to be a little bit dyslexic. I read books from the back to the front. Generally, if I pick up a magazine, and even in my journals, I'll find I wrote from the back to the front of the book. And this is a line of sight thing. And a lot of times when that's happening, it's because someone has had more lifetimes when they read that way. And it's just that simple. And they have that actual memory in their central nervous system, in their hard drive. And that's the way that they've had more lifetimes, if you want to call it lifetimes, or more realities or more experiences of reading this way instead of this way. And when that is energetically shifted, quite often, people will be able to, children that are having a lot of trouble reading, if you energetically shift that for them, their line of sight will become so much stronger, and they'll be able to read from the front to the, both ways. And so, but you could go an entire lifetime thinking that you have a problem with reading, or that you have maybe been diagnosed with something that causes that, but they would not have looked into, oh, is it coming from inside this person, or is it coming from outside this person? Which is what I tested. So if it's an external force coming from outside, then that means it's not really you, your core energy of who you are, that is saying this. This is what you've been shown or taught is the problem. And this is the problem with energy work, trying to explain it logically, because it's not logical. You can tune back in, and you can, like, part of the reason, for instance, why I have taken so long to do this scrapbooking thing is not because I like scrapbooking. I'll never scrapbook again. I haven't even got my baby pictures of my daughters done with this. But the thing is that I am energetically shifting every picture. I'm tuning in and I'm asking myself, is that me in that picture? Is that really me? Or is that who I was back then? Is that still me? Because if I'm going to do a website, I need to know, right? And that is something very interesting that a lot of people, so when you say same, and you said it 5 times, same problem, it's impossible. It cannot happen. Because when in a lot of textbooks, the way people are taught is that, like, we're going around, and like, it's kind of like that Groundhog Day movie. That's not how it goes. What's happening is we're spinning and spiraling through space. And as we're doing that, we're never in the same place. The sun's not in the same place. The moon's not in the same place. The earth's not in the same place. Nothing's ever in the same place. So it's impossible to go back and repeat anything exactly. And most people can understand this better if they've ever had the experience of where you've had a holiday and you just loved it. And so you've got to go back there and you want to repeat that experience because it was the best holiday ever. And then you go back there with the same people at the same hotel and the weather's great, and it's a year later and it sucks. Why do you think that is, Ro?
I think it's just the energy, because we're not the same. But I was thinking about something. Just something came up, because I actually when you bring up that word same, and I was like, maybe it's not the same. It's impossible, and I'm being contrarian here. Maybe I'm just going backwards. Maybe for a slingshot forward. Maybe getting ready for a slingshot forward. That's all that I got. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I love this. Okay, so think about it this way. Have you heard about like when you think about the golden ratio and how nature counts, right? 1 + 1 is 2. And then nature then goes back in and 2 grabs 1 and becomes 3. And then 3 goes back in time and grabs 2 and becomes 5. And then 5 goes back in time and grabs 3 and becomes 8. And by that point, you are now, if you were a fertilized egg, you are now about to, you're a human being. And so if the process of building something as beautiful as a baby is a dance that goes back and forth and sideways, then why would the life that you came to live as a human being, as a baby, be like, that's kind of like, have you ever watched, like, say in North Korea, how they march?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to be marching like that? Or do you want to,
No,
do you want to dance to your own beat?
we talked about this about 4 years ago, and I was in my old ugly job, and you explained to me about going back and forth about dancing. Yeah, and you explained it differently. It's just remember.
Okay, yeah, like that's what's happening for me is right now, because I'm shifting so much myself, partly because I'm going back in time and I'm correcting all this energy, going back in time, looking at what I wrote. How can I improve it? How can I say it better? How can I do this on an online program? And I'm so excited about it because now I'm like, I figured it out how I'm going to do it, and I'm happy. And when I get now, all the people from all around the world that I got to meet with before can take my seminar if they weren't able to before. And then when we meet, we can build shift instead of correcting it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
it sounds good.
if you want to have a strong future, you need to participate in it now. Because the past, present, and future are all one. So what we are doing right now is we are laying the groundwork to move into 2021 in the age of Aquarius in a new way. And what time is it, Olivia, just to make sure I don't go over?
It's about 52, so we've got about.
Oh, I got good. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about this role because this is coming up for you as a weakness, and I have a lot of respect for your ability to be able to stay calm and the energy work that I know you have done. So using you as a barometer here, I'm just strengthening this for a lot of people listening right now, because the transition of birth and death is the same, basically. You know, both of them, like I have had 2 babies, and I'll tell you, right at that point where you're really wanting to push, and you're really wanting to push, and they're telling you, no, don't push, because like you're only at 8 centimeters and it won't work, like it won't work. And you'll just exhaust yourself. You'll just tire yourself out. But you're having these major contractions and you're being squeezed, you know, and you're like, oh, like you just want, you're, it's so hard to listen to the people and breathe and just not push at the wrong, like, but then if you wait and you rest just for that 30 seconds or so, and then the contraction hits and you're not resisting it and you're not fighting it, then 30% of women have an orgasmic experience when they do that, giving birth. And they don't talk about that. And that's very, very similar for life itself. Death is also a squeeze. But I was very, very blessed to work with Majaya Sati Bhagavati, and after looking after so many people who were dying of AIDS when no one else would, what happened is I think they had over 1,008 names on their boards out there just in Florida alone of mothers and children. At first it was just men, and then it was mothers and children who had died. And I was very blessed because when my mom passed, I went out there and the ashram prayed for my mom. And Ma held me and put her forehead on mine and hugged me. And she learned so much. She taught me so much about karma and about what that really means. And so, and about what being like like you won't help anyone. You won't be able to empower anyone if you lower your vibration for anyone. So being angry for you is not going to empower you. And so what you need to do is really identify what emotion is it that you are really feeling. Because I'm getting that you're feeling grief.
Disappointment, something to that extent. Yeah.
And you feel like, so like if you acknowledge, and so it's a mixed emotion that you're feeling. Mixed emotions are the most challenging emotions to deal with. Like if I drive by the hospital where my dad passed and where my mom passed, that's also the same place where I had both my babies. So the most beautiful, wonderful moments in my life where I got to hold my babies, and the most challenging, sad moments of my life where I watched my dad suffer for 4 years. And, you know, and where I said goodbye to my mother. And so those mixed emotions are what most of us are feeling right now. And so we're all kind of dying, a little bit of a death here. And a lot of times when people say the same, when you were using that word so much, it's because people are craving the same. But your weakness is actually not that things are the same, because you know better. Your weakness is that you want things to be different. So we're just going to strengthen that. Olivia, how much time? A minute?
Yeah, just about a minute.
Okay. So Raul, what number are you at?
I'm not lower. I would say 5-4, something to that extent.
Okay. So now when we get down to that, that's about manifesting. Number 4 is the sacral energy that manifests in the 3rd dimensional plane. And so we're going to strengthen you to that. And everyone that's listening now, listening after. Did your number just change? Because we got to go. And if it didn't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
I got you're at a 3 now. So I want to thank you so much for calling in. It was so good to hear your voice. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
And thank you.
Always.
Yeah, and thank you, Transformation Talk Network and Pat and your team, and Olivia for producing, and for the audience for listening now, later. We'll be back next Wednesday. Bye.
You've been listening to The Truth is Funny with Colette Stefan. Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Stefan each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network as she provides energetic shifts and consistent results in every area of life, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. The Truth is Funny. Visit thetruthisfunny.com for more information. That's thetruthisfunny.com.